Senator Tim Scott, the only black Republican in the Senate, introduced the party's police reform bill known as the Justice Act on Wednesday, co-sponsored by Indiana Senator Todd Young. The Justice Act would discourage chokeholds, implement a system to track police shootings, and would also create a way to track the use of no-knock warrants. I asked Senator Young if he felt like parts of the bill, like making lynching a federal crime, were long overdue.
Much of it's overdue. But it just, evidently it took some of these gruesome images of George Floyd on YouTube and later on national television to catalyze action. And it's unfortunate that sometimes that's what happens.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell also announced that he's fast-tracking the bill to start debate on it next week.